Hello, hello, and welcome once again to the Illuminated page. Thank you for joining us as we continue our journey through the Horror on the Orient Express from Chaosium. Chaosium has nothing to do with the show, we just play their game. So don't blame them if we play it better than you. So, sorry. I'm in a mood today. It's where we are. But yes, my name is Rue, and I will be your conductor for the evening. Someone will be along shortly to stamp your ticket and make sure you are most comfortable. While you get situated, it is my pleasure to introduce our guests of the hour. But before they introduce themselves, I have a request for each of you to answer as your character. Can you tell us a fond memory of a significant person in your life? Who would like to go first? As your character. I don't care about real people. I know most y'all. You're muted, Alyssa. But
hey,
I don't know how
that
long
moment is my fond moment.
Yeah. I had this moment with myself. Cleo's medium skills just shut off one day and everything stopped talking. But yeah, would any of you like to? It doesn't have to be a long story. Brief, please. This is just the intro. Who would like to go first? I'll pick.
Punching my microphone. I'll go.
Okay, go for it, Cleo.
When I was maybe 8 at most, my dad, we were never incredibly rich money-wise growing up, but my father had all of these hankies that he would always carry around, and he always wanted to get one monogrammed with his initials, but it was just something that was never,
for sure,
that we could never really do. We never really had the money. So I took out I had these little he had these. They weren't really fountain pens. They were kind of thicker than that, but they used ink, and I took out some of his inks, and I monogrammed them with the ink for
Oh.
him. And since he passed, I carry one around on me now.
That is really sweet. What are your dad's initials?
Let me get back to you on
Yeah,
that.
no. Sorry, I'm just all
I actually
for
do have it in my notes somewhere.
impromptu questions. Yeah, I feel like I have it in a note somewhere too.
See, that's why I wasn't going first, because I was opening up my background so I could remember all the names.
Well, now you get to go now, Kelsey. It is your turn to give us your brief, fond memory of someone significant in your life.
So around 12, I ran away from home. So hold on, it'll get better. That's not my fondest memory. And I made it to Chicago, and I was basically doing odd jobs for anybody that could spare some food or a little bit of cash. And I was running errands for Mr.
Brambali or whatever his name.
Brambali. And he kind of took me under his wing and saw that I had potential and I could be trusted with tasks. And he finally gave me a roof over my head, gave me a place to sleep, and started sending me to school and made me who I am today.
A rogue and a scoundrel.
A locksmith, thank you.
My mistake. And now, Johanna, out of the extensive and richly textured life of an Austrian noblesse, what story do you have for us today? What fond memory of a significant person in your life will you share with us?
I can already feel the white privilege just beaming through, the rich white privilege. So
Emily be like, I killed 5 people.
and survived that happy. That's the happy part. When I was right about to turn 15, my father finally agreed to take me to a state function in at the Emperor's Palace, and we didn't just go for a day. We stayed in our home there for a week or so. But one of my distant cousins from another family line took me out, and he showed me how to properly handle a rifle and how to shoot and how to aim. It was one of the few times that the expectations were very low for what I couldn't do, and one of the few times that early in my life where I chose to eschew the ladylike traits that I was pushed towards, and just enjoyed the loud crack of a gun and watching targets explode a little bit from my accuracy.
Nice. I enjoyed making things explode. It's a Johanna quote. I like it.
Yeah.
Sidebar: his initials are WRD. Walter Remington Dandridge. I found it on machine.
Nice.
That's a really good name. That is
Word.
I love that name.
It's that's how I'm gonna refer to him as Word for the rest
Word.
for the rest of the game. Awesome. Thank you for indulging me. I really appreciate it. I've been wanting to kind of incorporate something like that, but it's like, what do you do before a game about like eldritch monsters? What's your favorite eldritch god? I like Athaqua. They're really cold.
I believe you mean I like Athaqua. They're the coolest.
Oh, there we go.
Ooh.
Nicely done. Okay, next week you get to think of the question, Johanna.
Oh, no.
I mean, in all honesty, you want to invite them to all the parties. They never forget the ice.
Yeah.
That's very true. In fact, they bring it. So as you've noticed, I should have mentioned it before, but I was reading a script. Ala is not with us tonight. Her internet went down immediately before. Well, yeah, I think it was like 5 minutes before she was supposed to get on the call. So if she can, she will hop in at midpoint. If not, though, we will just be without the vocal intonations of our wonderful German governess. And so Johanna is off the leash tonight. So
Oh no.
I fully expect off the leash shenanigans. But let's go ahead and go around the table and let's introduce ourselves. Go ahead and push plug whatever you're doing, and tell us who you are and where we can find you and who your character is. So let's go ahead and start with Alyssa, because I like the alphabet.
Hey, everybody. I am Alyssa. I play Cleo Dandridge. She is, well, usually I say she's the group's kind of resident babysitter and person that tells them not to touch things. But if you've ever watched a horror movie and been sitting in the audience and been commenting, why are you touching that? Why are you doing that? Cleo is just that feeling personified.
That's perfectly right. You are the occultist babysitter,
Yes.
whereas Emily is probably is at least Johanna's physical babysitter.
Yeah, that's fair.
Next, I have in the alphabet Matt. Tell us about you and Johanna.
Johanna, it's Johanna Elizabeth Frederica von Ronaldi-Stad,
Yes,
Countess.
I apologize that I forget all of their second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth names.
Listen, we didn't spend 6 weeks in Countess school to not be called by her full name. So she is an academic, first and foremost. I know that a lot of other traits come flying out rather thoroughly because that's what I like to do. But interest and intrigue are things that drive her. So the fact that she isn't allowed to touch things only makes things worse, and that somebody won't share their books is the worst thing that you could possibly do to her, which I think I enjoy even more because that means that now I quietly sort of hate Cleo while being envious of all her knowledge. But there's also
Never
a level
hate.
a level of innocence about how the real world is in Johanna. Because what's growing up poor? You mean you only had one house? That's weird. So
Yeah, okay.
it's kind of where we sit.
$25 bananas.
You know?
I mean,
Yeah, how much could a banana cost? Somebody was quoting that like all freaking weekend. I think I passed 7 different people who said that in my vicinity at Gen Con.
It's probably right after they went by the freaking super expensive dice booths.
yeah.
I mean, probably all of them. Okay, and next, last but certainly not least, Sean, introduce yourself and introduce Kelsey.
Hey, I'm Sean, and I'm playing Kelsey Haskins. I am the secret is out, the resident rogue, disguised as a humble locksmith.
And lady killer.
Old lady
Old
killer.
Hey, he has not killed a single old woman yet.
I haven't been asked to yet.
Not from a lack of their trying.
There's still a lot of game to go.
Maybe not for Kelsey.
Ooh.
So is that all?
Yeah, that's it. I
That's-
mean,
What about you? Who are you, Sean?
Oh, I'm a corporate sellout. No.
Are you a wage slave? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm a wage slave by day, mini painter by night.
And he's also in our Star Trek show. I mean, he does other things on the channel.
Oh yeah,
Don't let his blasé attitude make you think that he does nothing around here.
No, I've been with Rick and Rasp for the inception.
Yes, since the
And,
inception, you
yeah.
have been with us.
And love supporting the channel. I play in the Star Trek game that we have on Mondays. Hopefully we'll get back to Bunkhouse B eventually.
I want to do a Bunkhouse B miniseries maybe October. So
That
we'll
would be
see. We'll
fun.
see if our
college years.
schedules shake out. Yeah, we got to do an ETU game. So if that's everything, It is my duty to remind you that Illuminated Page is a Pulp Cthulhu 7th edition actual play, and as such, some content and thematic elements may not be suitable for all viewers. Discretion is advised. And without further ado, have the staff top off your beverage, sit back, and enjoy the ride. So, last week, my peoples, we left you all. It was still January 19th, 1923. You spent most of the show exploring a little bit the Dreamlands, and the Dreamlands Express. You boarded at Ulthar. You met the conducteur, Henri Peters, who is a kindly Belgian man who wore a long-beaked bird mask covering his features. You met a few human dreamers that were also there. I was like an arms dealer and a diplomatic courier, and then a really what do you call it? What is the opposite of misogyny? And then how do you what is the word that's the opposite?
Oh, the cranky lady.
Misandry.
Misandry. Thank you. I always want, my stupid brain always forgets the miss part, and I'm like, but it's not androgyny. I know it's not. I know that I've got the wrong word here. But yes, misandry. Does not seem to care for men at all. But I feel like she kind of made side comments to Cleo or Emily or somebody during the train ride. But anyway, you did spend some time on the Dreamlands Express, and then I think you made some whiskey. You conjured up some whiskey, Johanna. Yeah. And then you came back to the waking world and were deposited in Lausanne, Switzerland at about 6:45 in the morning. A porter takes all your things off the train, sits you there. The train, as everybody disembarks, the train took off. You know that you do have another train to catch in the morning at the same time, if you want to head and get on your way to Milan. So
if we miss that train, we have multiple trains after. Like, we don't have to get on that exact train, right?
No, you will have, this is the line. So okay. that train will that particular one goes on, but you know that there are multiple trains that actually make these circuits. So there will be another train from Paris arriving in the morning. There will be another train arriving the day after as well. So this is just like, it just kind of goes in a circuit. There are several trains that follow the line.
I mean, because we only have 4 days if we want to make it to Milan by the 22nd for that concert.
Yeah, well, yeah, three days. Yeah, so, but let's see here. Last week, our intrepid investigators, Dreamland Express, blah, 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 met some few human dreamers, as well as several cats of Ulthar, including, how did I forget? Our friendly scamp of a cat, Blackjack. But the Swiss police have checked your passports and your travel documents as you disembarked and onto the platform there, and then you kind of made your way into a nearby cafe. You were lured into with the wonderful aromas of baking pastries, coffee, and chocolate. And that is where we will join you. I believe we talked a little bit about it. We were talking about newspapers and things like that. So, but that we'll kind of rehash that.
Yeah, I mean, we were reading papers. I think Emily was checking to make sure that the Countess wasn't in the newspaper for any of the shenanigans that went on in
this is correct. Yeah,
Paris. So
you find yourself in a small room that's pleasantly appointed. It looks very comfortable. There's a handful of round tables with, just basic dining chairs, kind of low back stools. They are the low back stools are comfortable enough when you sit down. But they are not intended. They're not so comfy that you will stay very long. They are a, have a seat, and then we lost Sean.
Who down?
Let's just 1 second, y'all, while we see what happened to Sean. And if he blinked back in, so let's see if his video comes back. Sean, are you with us? Hello. I didn't.
Died.
Yeah. Well.
Sorry about that.
That was roll sanity for me, Kelsey. You.
Speaking of rolling things.
Oh yeah,
you roll luck.
Roll those beautiful luck advances, my people, if you are not currently maxed out.
Okay, so I rolled sanity.
I was joking.
Oh, okay.
You do not have to roll. Nothing happened in the 2 seconds that you were away.
You never know.
And luck advance is just like a normal advance. If we roll over, we add a d10.
Yes.
Okay.
This one that we roll at the beginning of the game is a typical luck advance where you roll your percentile die. If you roll over your amount, you get to roll a d10. When the chat gifts you a luck advance, it's just a straight d6.
Did we lose a lot of his sanity last game?
Sanity?
No.
Why do I feel like that's fine? I'm not.
We had like one sanity roll when we got to the Dreamlands, but I think that was for the non-believers.
Okay, then never mind. Not worried about it.
Well, if it's we did talk about this before game last time, where we thought if your sanity seemed a little low, then maybe you didn't add in what you were supposed to get at the end of the previous season.
It's still higher than Kelsey started. I'm gonna guess.
Okay.
Yeah, my starter was 50.
Oh yeah, I'm way above that.
Can't even remember if I added any sanity at the end of the last game, but I feel like I'm doing okay anyway.
I mean, where are you at on it? Where are we? Let's do a sanity check.
I'm at 70.
I'm at
Out
63.
of my total that I can go is 78.
Oh, okay. Then you're doing good.
Yeah.
I'm at 67 out of 80. Was where I started.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I think.
I'm at 63, so we're not that too far apart.
Yeah, I think y'all are doing okay.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, you okay?
His water has bones.
I mean,
Oh God, we're a mess.
oh my God.
I'm so sorry.
This is what happens when we don't have Emily here. But yes, so the petite woman behind the counter, it's a very nice, clean, sparkling counter, and there's a sparkling display case with all sorts of pastries and breads and even chocolates and things like that you can purchase. So she'll get you whatever you ask for. They have milk with sprinkled chocolate on top. It's warm milk. There is also coffee, espresso, the things that you would expect at a cafe like this. Outside the door, there is a small newsstand where you can go to check for papers. We know that Emily grabs one. And last week, Cleo, you told me that you were going to start looking for the strange side of things, like the Scoop and papers like that are going to report the things that the Times or the Parisian or whatever are too snooty to report. So if you would like to go check the newsstand, I will let you do a spot hidden and see if you can locate a paper for us. Let's see if them dice are on fire already.
Let's see if them dice are on fire already. Yeah, okay, that's a regular success.
Okay, fantastic. You see, it's kind of tucked behind the other papers that you see there, which there's a whole array of French and German papers for or on display there and for purchase, but kind of tucked behind a couple stacks of twine-tied newspapers, you catch glimpse of a word emboldened. It looks like, from what you can see, you see the word Louvre, and it's part of a headline, and there is a picture below, but you can't really see anything from the picture. But that is there. The guy who's running the stand is yes. May I help you?
Yes, I'm looking for what's behind this stack here.
Really? Well, it is, and we'll say for the sake of this, that he's speaking English. He may start to speak to you in French or German, and if you say, if you indicate that you don't really speak that, he'll be like, oh, okay, I deal with, you get all sorts through here, right? So he reaches over and he kind of moves papers. You want this? It is in French. It may be a little. Do you have a friend who can read it to you?
I do. And yes, it is a little above my reading level. Thank you.
I didn't mean it. I wasn't an insult. I was just saying.
I cannot read it.
When he kind of rummages around, he pulls out this stack, and they're actually tied together. He's like, people really don't ask for it, but I still get a collection of it because, it gives me laughs, and people seem to like when I leave them in the loo. And he takes one and he pulls it out. And as he pulls it out, you do see that the headline says something about the Louvre. And then there is a picture of a very familiar painting that you have seen before. Yes.
Don't worry, that Kelsey got caught.
It's Kelsey looking like Spy versus Spy.
It's like him sneaking away with the sketch.
Can't see me, I'm hiding.
That's right. Yep. But yeah, and so the name of the paper is L'étrange et chuchote, which is the weird and the whispered. And if you take it back in, I'm sure either Kelsey or Johanna can kind of bring out the finer details of it. But you see it, and it is that portrait or that sketch of a portrait of Comte Fenelick.
Does it laugh at me? I'm just kidding.
No, it does.
Rude.
It does. And it's kind of a comical rendering of such a thing, because somebody else is describing it to the paper. No, Revna, it is not a police artist sketch of Kelsey, but that would be great. But it's a stick drawing. Nice.
Nobody saw me. I was like a shadow.
Yeah, well, you never know. And
See
the
if
weird
somebody
and the
turns you
whisper.
in on accident.
So yeah, so you do find that.
Yeah, she'll bring it back in and sort of plop it on the table and just point at the photo.
Kelsey looks over
Or
and
at
is like, wow, someone broke into the loo? Nobody can do that.
What does it say?
So if Johanna kind of reads about it, it's like portrait claimed stolen from Louvre is the headline, and it features a front page interview with a Parisian man who claims that his favorite portrait has gone missing from the Louvre, but nobody seems to care or notice. And this is really upsetting to him, that he loved that painting. And he goes on, he's a little eccentric, as you can imagine, as being interviewed.
What is his name?
Yeah, we're concerned about this now. Is his name Comte Fenelick?
Yeah.
Right? He's like, they took my photo.
No, his
Not my photo.
I didn't think of a name. So
okay. It's fine.
Yeah, I'll give you a sufficiently eccentric French name later. It's like Oswald Dufresne or something like that. Oswald Duquesne. There you go. That's his name. Or Jeremy, as the chat is suggesting.
I like Jeremy.
Jeremy Duquesne or Oswald Jeremy. We don't know. Maybe Jeremy is his surname. But he gives this wild tale of how he used to visit this painting all the time, and he loved it. He is a burgeoning improv comedian, and he loved this painting because it always laughed at his jokes.
I was just going to say
And-
and
but he gives us, and even the interviewer seems a bit suspect of this tale. But he does say, but at the weird and whispered, this is where we tell the stories that others won't. If you have any experience with the laughing portrait in the Louvre, then please write in. And so, but that's all it is. Is this Oswald Jeremy Duquesne just is really upset that his painting is gone.
So if Johanna reads that out loud, after she reads the whole, we report the stories that no one else will, I was like, wow, might be able to make some money if they really heard our story about this thing.
I calmly fold the paper and smack him with it.
You just roll it up and then
Yeah.
wipe his nose like a
Mm-mm.
No.
Mm-mm.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
rolling.
Yeah, no, I got to get my hand out. No, don't you worry. I'm actually good at this.
No, I rolled a 95. You're going to be able to beat that unless you crit fail.
Oh no,
You're a little
yeah.
bleary and groggy after the late night on the train
and the drinking the night before. Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Yeah, so Kelsey receives the thwack with all sleepiness.
Emily has rubbed off on you.
Maybe Emily rolls the paper for Johanna and hands it across because she can't be bothered to reach across and do it herself. I'm old.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's
Old.
that's the best Emily impression I can give is I am old. Hit him.
You do.
She says in perfect French or German or whatever it is you all speak. And it's like, I care. about what my character's languages are. But again, I will mention that the local focus of the normal paper is not the Weird and the Whispered, although I'm sure they have some wonderful tales in there about all the visitors that are in town. But the local focus is the Conference of Lausanne, with representatives from Turkey, Britain, Italy, and France. The parties are still struggling to come to any agreements or find an accord, as they, I believe, like I've told the players, this is the conference that eventually ends the Ottoman Empire. But all of these governments and ambassadors are struggling to come to terms with that.
Johanna does take kind of a special interest in what is written in that article, because what is decided there could be applied to Austria, whether they like it or not. Like, there's a lot of uncertainty during this time on what's going to happen. Like, Germany essentially fell apart.
Yeah.
So
since that conference is going on right now, the area is pretty much inundated with various nationalities. Like the
Absolutely.
people that are after us could be freely walking in this, right?
I mean, there could be, if you recall, I'll do a quick recap, especially for our new viewers. In season 1, in London, the players learned of a gentleman named, there was a man that died 3 times in one night. As far as the papers were concerned, there were 3 individual bodies, all bearing a very similar likeness, all carrying same travel documents that had the same name in it, but with different roots, carrying the name of Mehmet Makrit, which and he was a Turkish man, and they did some investigating about that there, but they really didn't learn a lot about him specifically, just that it was this bizarre kind of case. But the body did look like somebody that I believe Johanna and Cleo had seen at a bookshop, or had not. Yeah, I think you saw them at a bookshop, didn't you? Yeah.
Didn't we also
that didn't
see
burn
them,
down?
We also saw the
burn
same
down.
person at the
Challenger
meeting.
lecture.
Yeah, the Challenger lecture,
where
yeah.
they had been invited by a friend of theirs, Professor Joseph Smith.
Friend.
And did we ever?
He considers you all his friends.
Hey,
colleagues.
we like Bedos better.
Okay.
Beto.
Okay. What is their ship name? Setos? Smetos?
Ooh.
Yeah, Bith doesn't work.
It absolutely does.
And also before
We have to
let the audience decide. Isn't that how ship names work?
Oh,
We
that
don't
is true.
come up
The
with them,
audience
they
should
do.
decide. Yes, please decide what ship that is, what their name is, and it could be something completely different too. It doesn't have to be their names.
And did we ever connect the notes that we've gotten to Mehmet, or is that just something that's still up in the air?
I think it came from the creepy cult, but not specifically from him.
But we all assume that he is part of that cult.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah, I would have to go back and remember exactly, because you guys found a lot of information at the library there in the reading room there in London. So
and
I
for
would have
first time viewers, when we say we got notes, they're made of skin.
Not in plural, just the one note from skin, right?
Yes, you only got the one note made in skin. You did.
Oh, well, if we only got the one.
I mean, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the guy in the library, you did happen upon a flayed body in the library that was wearing full clothes, but no skin.
We thought he was CP.
He was only dressed to the 8s, apparently. But yeah, that was bad. That was bad. That was bad. I regret it already. But yes, you did receive one note made of flesh.
According to chat, their ship is the Salty Maiden.
Really?
Or the Expeditious Gull. Revna's on a
not naming
tear.
actual boats. Save those for Tuesday night when we have a pirate game, because those are all things.
Revna's really excited, obviously. I, for one, appreciate the excitement that Revna is showing.
I do as well. Thank you
so
so
like
much.
The Expeditious Gull. Can we have a ship now?
Fine.
We have a land ship.
I don't know how to get a ship to Constantinople or Istanbul from Lausanne.
So
but
we're
we'll
gonna just
find a
go.
way.
We'll go south to Italy and get on a boat. There it is, right there. Just go Mediterranean. Who needs a train when you can get on a boat?
The Mediterranean.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know. Yeah.
Sorry, you said that, and I was like, "Wait, did I say the Caribbean?" And no,
No,
I
you
the
said Mediterranean. And then I just took out an E. Anyway, I'm full of bad jokes tonight, guys. I apologize. So while you're here, I will say that again, it is very early in the morning. So it probably is a little too early to start going around like trying to find people in Lausanne. So do you want to go ahead and get a hotel for the night?
I assumed that we sent, like, no joke, we sent one of the people that work for me, servants. That's what they're called, Matt. One of my
Okay.
employees. That's a much
Okay.
better sounding name. Off to get, like, take our bags to a nice hotel, or as
Okay.
nice as we can get in, since there's probably a lot of delegates.
And
There
just
are-
so we know, are we keeping the arm with us, or did that go with the luggage?
Oh, that's arm is always with us.
It's always with us. Okay, just
It is
confirming.
always with you.
I would
Theo's
like to.
like,
Are there shops here in the area open?
Probably not yet. A few cafes. But yes, so if you go ahead and send your luggage on ahead to a hotel, I can go ahead and give you the list of the hotels if you would like to pick one. They range from modest and more affordable to the finest of the finest hotel, which is the Beau Rivage Palace.
So that one.
And yeah, that one. Okay. That one also does have a lot of delegates at it, but they will happily accommodate your party.
Sure.
So
While we're sitting there, I'm gonna lean like quietly across the table as though I'm still nursing a hangover, which I'm definitely 100% not, since I drank a ton at the card game the night before. And I will quietly say, perhaps we should check with one of the shops here in town to have either find an appropriate sized container or have one made for the arm and other subsequent pieces we might find. Something that is easily carried and is less conspicuous than a giant suitcase.
I will say that if you do that, you will want to probably just buy one. Here, you probably won't want to have time.
No.
You probably won't have time if you're going to try to catch the train in the morning.
Yeah,
Again,
no.
you don't have to try to catch the train tomorrow
Matt
morning.
realizes that Johanna doesn't.
Shh. Make it happen. I ask and receive.
Exactly.
That's- as you're all sitting there eating and drinking or whatever you chose to do there, is there anything you want to talk about here, or are you kind of just this is just a interstitial before you move on?
So I mean, yeah, I'll bring it up. So I mean, we need to find Edward Wellington. I mean, that's
Edgar
who-
Wellington, yes.
That's who sent the note to that doctor and his family. He was after this seems as much as we are. Is that something we want to do? Do we want to approach him personally, or do we want to send a letter of invitation and bring
We
him
should
to us?
absolutely send at least someone to introduce ourselves if he is. Did we get any indication on his station within society? Is he just a gentleman that happens to write a letter, or does his name ring any kind of bell?
His name does not ring any bells for you, but one second, let me go ahead and pull that up, and I can reread it for you if you'd like me to.
Sure, yeah, please.
Sorry, I was having a mouse issue. So here we have, to whom it may concern, I realize that I am a complete stranger and that this letter may well mean nothing to you. My name is Edgar Wellington, and I am researching the history of a statue known most commonly as the Sedefkash Simulacrum. I recently came into possession of an old scroll which presents an intriguing description of the item. This piqued my interest, and I am now endeavoring to trace the simulacrum. My search has led me to your address. The name is probably meaningless to you, but through my researches, I have learnt that the last recorded resting place of the piece of art was in the house that occupied your land in the late 18th century. The statue was a unique Arabian artifact, lost during the events of 1789. Its last owner was a German nobleman who once lived where you live today. Please, I ask that if you have heard of any local stories regarding this item, or maybe found any traces of the old house and its possessions on your land, which might give a clue as to the eventual fate of the object, would you be so kind as to write to me with a summary of the information? I apologize for the rather strange nature of my request, but I feel that I should pursue whatever leads remaining to me. I hope that you will not go to any great length regarding this. Yours most sincerely, Edgar Wellington. And of course, it has an address of 50 Rue Saint Etienne, Lausanne, Switzerland.
So that's the address.
Yes.
Is that far from where we're at?
It is not.
Okay.
It is not. It's I will drop you all the map while you discuss, but yeah, it's not far.
I think that we send a note, invite them to lunch or perhaps dinner, and have them join us in a place that we can control things. I'm
Agreed. I
concerned.
mean, I'd rather it be on our turf than
Well,
his.
and even if it's here at the hotel, there will be enough delegates around that even if we don't act quickly enough, someone else will. There will be enough security there.
It's hard to read intent from a letter, but he sounds.
The fact that we're looking into something so dangerous is concerning already. I'm worried about us,
Agreed.
let alone someone else that is tracking this down intentionally.
I'm just saying, from the tone of that note, though, I don't feel like it's the same group that is actively pursuing us. I feel like it may be someone aligned with our interests as well, if not just from a historical perspective. He may be wanting to do the same thing we're doing. I'm just saying, let's go into it with an open mind, but on our turf is the best bet.
Sure.
I will say that the letter is written in English, and it was very well written English. So you get the impression, especially with the name Edgar Wellington, it feels like an
British.
Englishman,
Yeah.
or some a British man has written this.
So
Yeah, go
with I know with my attachment to kind of the not the historical areas within the University of London. Yeah, that's where I went. Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
King's College is where you went, or something like that. Or
does his name attach to any of that? Does that sound familiar with any researchers or anything? If he's interested, if
doesn't.
he's British and he's okay, that makes sense.
It doesn't. It doesn't at all. I will say, if you would like to look in, an address book, or I actually don't know what the appropriate. They had telephone books in the 1920s. There might be one for Lausanne available here at the platform if you're looking for any kind of. They probably more cater to like cafes and hotels and stuff because it's a travel stop. But I mean, it's very likely to have other businesses and places in the city.
And Countess, if we go to the hotel, they would have someone to send a message and tell us how to get the best way to get to this, correct?
Yes, absolutely. And even if we could find someone to hire, I have no doubt of that.
As you're sitting there and you're having your breakfast of your pastries and your warm drinks. Remember, it is January and you are in the Swiss Alps, so it is a cold time of year. Go ahead, anyone who might be kind of paying attention. You guys have been talking kind of openly about things. You might look around, if you're interested, look around and see if give me a spot hidden, because you are not alone in this cafe.
Ooh,
that's an extreme success.
I got a success.
Okay. No, Cleo is still reading or trying to pick out words from the Weird and the Whispered paper. So she's learning.
There's like
French.
a crossword that she's trying to do, but of course none of her words fit.
Yeah,
they're all in English.
Yeah. So you do notice there is one other man in the cafe. This is a train platform. He did not disembark with you, but doesn't mean that another train didn't come through just before you, or but you notice a man in pressed trousers and collared shirt with short cropped graying hair, deep lines around his mouth, and intense blue eyes, sipping an espresso in the corner and reading a paper. The paper that he is reading is the Times. He opted for an English paper. You got an extreme success, Kelsey.
Mm-hmm.
As you all are talking, you kind of especially as you mentioned certain things and maybe previous events, you kind of keep your eye on him to see if they're paying attention, or perhaps looking over at you. Um, he seems to be engrossed in his paper, but it does become clear to you as you kind of watch him or out of the corner of your eye that his eyes are not scanning the paper before him. So you get the distinct impression that he is probably listening in on your discussion to some degree. But shortly after this, he does fold his paper, stand up, leaves it on the back of his chair, and nods to the server as he departs and says cheers. And he, not to y'all, to her, and he steps out and he walks off.
Countess, Leo, there may have been someone listening in on the conversation. Did you see that gentleman that left?
Yes.
He was most definitely paying attention to what we're saying.
Do you think we should have a conversation with him?
I'm thinking that I have the best chance of following him and see where he goes.
Do you think that we need to follow him, see where he goes, or just confront the issue?
It could have just been someone sitting there, heard us talking about strange things, people, but
I can't believe
I'm
they talked about the Louvre.
yeah.
Some
I'm
paintings
saying
been stolen
I'm
from the
saying
Louvre?
that we should follow, see where he's going. If it's if he goes to an office or he goes to, is it a weekday or is it?
I believe it's like a Tuesday. I would have
Tuesday,
to look
yeah.
at the calendar.
Yeah, I mean, if he's going to his office, I see no need in confronting him. But I'm going, as I'm saying this, I'm getting up, grabbing my jacket because I want to head out before I lose sight of him.
I don't think that any of us going alone is a good idea. Cleo, do you feel comfortable going
It's a
with him?
Friday.
I'll go.
Okay, if you guys can be stealthy and be inconspicuous, that would be a great boon.
Leo,
Oh, no, I'm
grabs the
staying
rest
here.
of her pastry and shoves it in her mouth, and she's like, "What are you talking about?"
I'm staying here. I know
Chewing.
better. I'm not at all good at that. I don't skulk. But perhaps if Cleo, if you feel like that is somewhere that something you can do, great.
Yeah,
If not, then
I'm not Kelsey, but I'll be okay.
okay, excellent.
Let's go.
Fine.
We're splitting the party.
Splitting the party. Well, once you go outside, the snow has not snowed recently enough that there's enough snow on the ground for you to catch a track or anything. You do not see him outside the cafe. He is not on the train platform. So if you head down, I'm going to go ahead and let you do go ahead and do another spot hidden.
Rolled a 51 on both of them, so regular success.
Regular success. You think you may have caught the back of his jacket, like the color of his jacket as he gets into a cab and it departs.
He's in a cab. He took off. I'm not even sure it was him. I don't think we're gonna catch him.
While they went outside, I'm going to wave the waitress over.
Oh, okay.
The gentleman that just left.
Oui?
Do you know his name by chance?
I do not. He came in about 20 minutes before you.
He mentioned something about some art, and I was interested to follow up with him. But if you don't have his name, I understand.
I don't. I'm sorry. We get lots of passengers in here, but it is.
Of course.
I open by myself in the morning, so I have to make sure that all the drinks
no,
and things
of
are
course,
prepared.
of course.
I have
Well,
not
thank
seen
you.
him before.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
I guess I'm gonna head back to the cafe since we're not gonna catch him in the cab, and I wasn't even sure it was him. So
When you sit back down, I'll just say the waitress confirmed that he does not come in here. This is his first time here, and she does not know who he is. I take it that you couldn't follow him?
I think I caught a glimpse of him. He was moving fast, got in a cab, was gone.
Well, we will remain on guard.
All right. Where would you like to go from here? You can check out the hotel. You can.
I would like to stay here until maybe a couple of the shops start opening. I know it's probably a couple hours.
Yeah, so you arrived at 6:45. I'll say you've been here probably about 20 minutes. So 6:45, then you wandered into the cafe, and I'll say it's about 7:30. So I'll go ahead and say that some of the shops in town, and the waitress may even mention it to you. She says, well, most things start to come alive around 8:30, 8 o'clock. So if it's a bit of a walk into the town proper. So or you can hire a cab, of course. But uh, wherever you would like to go is easy enough to find.
Yeah, we'll hire a car to take us into town. Put us in a decent shopping district that we can find, honestly, just a suitcase, like a case that
Okay.
this arm and other stuff can go in.
I did drop the map for Lausanne into the Lausanne folder. If you're interested in looking at it, of course, it's not going to list shops or anything. It's going to list more of the places of interest. But you can have that and see where the train is. The train is on the southern portion of the map, I believe. And you can see where Lac Le Mans or Lake Geneva is. So you wait for a little bit. You take it's a wonderful morning. Another train pulls in. There's a rush of customers, rush of customers come into the cafe. Tired passengers that took overnight trains from who knows where. Then you hire a cab and you make your way into the city. So you are still carrying. Right now, the only baggage that you're keeping on you primarily is the leaded box with the arm, correct? Or are you carrying? I assume you have a bag of personal effects that you would keep on you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a bag of personal effects would make sense.
Okay, cool. You get into the town. I'll say that it doesn't take you long to find a kind of a tourist shop that might specialize in baggage and things like that. And you can see if there's something that you could fit. Remember, it is a human-sized arm in a box that is then lined with fabrics and things. So it's kind of really protected in there, and then it's sealed ethereally and physically.
It's the whole arm, right?
It's the whole left arm.
It's the entire arm.
Yeah. And as you enter the shop, the shopkeeper says, bonjour, hello. May I help you? Welcome to my shop.
In French, I will respond, good morning, sir. We thank you for your warm welcome. We are looking maybe for a new case.
Of course.
I like to take my what do you call those? Telescope with me from time to time when I travel, and the one that the case I have is just not suited for longer travel. I was hoping that you might have something appropriate.
Okay.
Something
Sure.
sturdy and with enough room for the bric-a-brac, whatever the French word for bric-a-brac is.
I just I don't know. I don't know what. It's just accoutrement. Who is carrying the case that has the arm in it?
Me? Oh, Cleo. Yeah,
think
I'm not
I
allowed
am.
to touch it. What was I thinking?
Yeah, Cleo's not letting anybody touch it.
Okay. Well, Cleo, go ahead
My arm.
and okay. The shopkeeper says, when you mention telescope, he kind of looks amongst you and he notices that is obviously the only thing, unless your telescope is a wee tiny little thing, that is not a euphemism. he says, please set up here. I will take some measurements and see what I can do. And I assume you set it up on the counter, and he
Sure.
brings out a little small tape measure, and he measures and he says, I do believe I have a case or two in the back that would be good for this. And he runs off. He reappears a little later. He also, when he was inspecting it, he does kind of heft it in his hands to kind of get an idea of weight. And it is not light by any stretch. But he's like, oh, well, he kind of mumbles to himself words that you might catch are, too heavy for leather, should have, we're going to need something with a little bit more reinforcement. So he kind of thinks, but he goes back, he comes out and he brings you, it looks like a canvas bag, but it's canvas that's been lined over It's a canvas lining on the outside, whereas the bag itself does feel more like it's wooden, maybe, or metal. It's something much more sturdy. It's got leather embellished corners on it. It looks very nice. Um, and he says it is the right length. It is deeper though. Um, so because you said you had other accessories that you would like to put in here.
Yes, that would be fantastic to have a little more space in it.
Yeah, so he brings you out. It's a large suitcase, but it's got handles on two ends. Almost, it kind of not necessarily steamer trunk, but almost like footlocker sized. And so, and he measures it and he says, there's a little extra space on the ends, but this should fit it quite nicely. If you need, we do have some padded inserts that we can sell you if you want to really secure it side to side.
Would you have time to monogram it by chance?
Probably. How long are you staying in our beautiful city?
The express leaves in the morning, so if you have time, great. If not, I understand. We'll all get it monogrammed another place.
I can absolutely check with my wife. She does a lot of the embroidery and monogramming. With that shortened time frame, though, there might be a bit of a premium as far as.
Not of course, and I just pull out a roll of probably francs and just like put down what I assume the case is worth, and then like on top of that the exact same amount, and then start to put it away. And then is that enough?
We.
Okay.
This is fine. Please, and this is more than enough. I really. He actually leaves a few on the table and takes it, and he says, if you could come back maybe around, give us maybe 7 hours or so to do this. I will have her start on it right away, especially since you are leaving in the morning. We have time to move a few things around.
Then I will write down my name and my initials so that he has it appropriately and put it in front of him.
Okay. He takes it and he says, "Thank you." Do you write Countess on there or
Absolutely.
just?
I mean,
okay. I'm just.
Do we call you Ox Ann? No.
I mean, hey, they called me that in elementary.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't. Okay. Whew.
They didn't.
They
didn't call me.
They didn't call me.
No, my cousin is always like strong like ox, and so that's all. Because I am but yeah, so Countess, thank you. And he tucks the money away in its proper place, and he signs on the order, and he says, I will make sure she has this. Would you like us to keep your the box with it? That you don't have to carry it around. Oh, okay.
We'll carry it with us. I would just feel more comfortable with it with me. I'll lean in a little bit and say some of my employees have been less than, and I'll look over at Kelsey. Careful.
Wow. Well, no, it is. Please. 7 hours. Give us 7 hours. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Yes.
He smells drama, and he's like, "Oh, get out of my shop. Get out of here with that."
As we walk out, I'll lean over to Mr. Haskins and say, "I apologize, Mr. Haskins, but the less questions, the better. And if it seems like you're incompetent, then we can get out quicker."
Yes, because announcing that you're the Countess is helping stay low.
I asked for monogram on luggage that we don't need monogram on. There's a presentation we have to maintain. If you don't think that my name has been noticed on the Orient Express by now, I think you would be very surprised to find you're wrong.
No, I get that, but we're not on the Express right now.
But we are in a town attached to it. If I can't be seen there, think questions will be asked. I'm positive of it.
So, where do you find yourselves going? So it's about 8:30 now. It didn't take too long to talk to the wonderful man at the baggage shop. Would you like to take a walk past the address or anything like that?
Oh, is it within walking distance of where we are?
Yeah,
Yeah, let's
yeah.
do a little
You're in
drive-by.
town.
Yeah, for
You're
sure.
well in town now. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do a
Um,
little walk by.
Walk by? Okay. So you find yourself on Rue Saint Etienne, and it is a quiet, very calm town. The streets in Lausanne are very steep because you are up in the mountains. So the walking is you're all young. So it's not that big of a deal, except for the old one, but she has a cane to help. And she's in chat, so I feel like I can make fun of her, right? Or is she not in chat anymore?
Oh, she's in
She,
chat.
she spoke up when
Yeah.
the Countess was overpaying.
Oh yeah. Anyway, you do all right getting up the steep streets, but you do. There are some houses that line the sides, and but also some businesses, and you actually find that number 50, the building looks like it's an older building, but it looks pleasant. It is I had a pretty picture, but I'm not going to give it to you. But at number 50 is easy enough to find, and a weathered sign does mark it as Wellington Fee, or those of you that speak French, you would see this as Wellington Sons. Taxidermy, 50 Rue Saint Etienne. So it is a business. The sign does say that it's open at this time, and there is a cafe across the street if you wanted to. I mean, you're more than welcome to knock on the door. You're more than welcome to walk away. But it is a business. The curtains are drawn over the front window, though there is no display.
Any hours of operations on a plaque or anything? So they're
Yeah.
currently
They're open right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we could always. Not that since it's January, it would look a little obvious if we're sitting outside to watch. Is there?
Well, I mean,
windows in
the
this cafe?
the cafe has plate glass windows on the
Okay.
front. It
Okay.
is it's another small cafe, really not even named. It's like cafe with the street name on it. But yeah, there are plate glass windows, and you did just leave a place. But if you are thirsty or want to warm up after walking from the baggage store, you could definitely come here.
I say we watch the front of that shop for an hour or so, see if
Sure.
anybody comes and goes, and then
Okay.
if it seems, excuse me, if it seems innocent enough, we could try seeing who's there.
I would be concerned. Let's go sit and we'll have a tea. So
All right,
once we,
all right.
yeah.
Welcome into the cafe, and they bring you whatever you ask for: tea, baguettes, croissants, whatever you ask for.
Coffee.
Coffee. Yeah. Kelsey's like, I do coffee. I'm an American. Thank you. Leave your tea stuff in England.
Mr. Haskins, I would be concerned with entering that shop.
I didn't plan on it yet.
No, I mean at all. The front curtain is closed. It's a taxidermy shop, which means that they're already used to dealing with dead bodies and removal of skin. There are, perhaps I'm being paranoid,
Animals?
but there are people are just big animals in a lot of ways, Mr.
That's true
Haskins.
too.
There are just too many similarities. Miss Andrews, am I being too paranoid? Would this seems like a good cover for someone involved in a group called the Brotherhood of the Skin.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think you're being too paranoid. I don't think it's a bad cover, but I also think it's a little bit on the nose.
This is true. I will say, while y'all are talking, you do see the front door open, and a tall man with thinning hair, looks probably later middle aged, in the way he stands and the lines in his face. And he just pulls out a cigarette, and he leans against there's a little fence, like a half wall, out in front of the property, and he just lights a cigarette and he smokes for a little bit, and there are people starting to mill about the street. He greets a few, and You see him talking. He seems, I mean, you can go ahead and give me a psych roll if you want to get a feel for him, but at first glance, at first blush, he looks friendly. Genial, maybe?
Ooh, I got a success.
Oh, I did too.
I got a hard success.
Nice. Yeah, you, in watching him, he doesn't seem, I mean, you get the look in his eyes, he looks very tired, exhausted, but
Skinny
doesn't,
people will do that.
huh?
Skinny people will do that too.
I mean, perhaps. But he seems well, and he smokes a few cigarettes. You do notice that he is a chain smoker. He lights the next one with the one that he's got in his mouth. And he stays out there for a little bit, enjoys the fresh air, and then he kind of he goes back into his house.
I didn't really get any bad read off of him. We could always send the invitation, but I feel like skulking about, as you put it, might give us more inclination or indication on what we may deal with later. If you want, we could see if we could walk around the back to see if there's anything that stands out.
You do notice there is a like an alleyway that runs in between the houses. It's very similar to like terrace housing in England, where they share a lot of times. Two or three houses will share a common. Usually, two houses will share a common wall, and then there's little breezeways that go around to the backyards. But that breezeway or that alleyway has an overarching thing that is then attached to the next house. It's just a strip of houses with small little accesses to the back. So there is one that you presume you could get there. There are enough people on the street that slipping in may be a little risky, but at least at 9 o'clock in the morning.
If you think that that's best, Mr. Haskins, please feel free. I'm concerned. I have no reservations.
While you're talking, you see somebody come up to the door, ring, because they try the door and the door doesn't admit them. This is over at number 50 at the taxidermy shop. But they knock, and the same man answers the door with a smile and welcomes in this person. And if you stay watching, and about 5-10 minutes later, the man comes out and he's carrying like a stuffed, like a duck that presumably he shot or something, hunted and decided to keep for a display. It's a beautiful like mallard with the wonderful iridescent like green feathers and things like that, and it looks very well done, the taxidermy. And they shake hands and smile, and the man leaves.
Seems like a legit business.
How long do you think you will wait here at the cafe?
Well, if
you have a train to catch in the morning.
Right.
So...
it's a train. I mean, another one will come along. Yeah.
I mean, it will. You can stay here as long as you want.
No, I'm not gonna. No, I don't think we're gonna sit here all day. I just wanted to get a feel for it, and I still kind of want to check out the.
You want to go across?
Back of the business, yeah.
Okay. Then I'm going to need a stealth check, and I'm going to need an extreme success, just because people are about, and you're in front of a plate glass window at a cafe.
I mean, so it would be extremely uncommon for someone just to walk down an alleyway? You wouldn't cut through an alleyway to get to the other side of the street?
It's not. No, it goes back to the backyards.
Oh, I thought it was like an alleyway.
It goes back. No. It goes around to behind the houses. It doesn't go all the way through to another street.
Okay, see, that was my. Okay, yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that because that's too obvious. I thought it was just like a straight walk through. I could like.
No, I'm sorry. That was my description was lacking. No, in these styles of houses, they go back to the back. Some of them may go out to other streets, but generally, it just takes you around to the back gardens of the property.
Okay, so it's like a carport kind of thing. Okay, I get it now.
Yeah, just one person wide. This is a single person.
Bad plan. Now that I realize, wait, there's not street access. I don't think that's a good idea.
Right. Yeah, that's why I said extreme success, because if someone happened to be looking, they would be like, yeah.
No, okay, I get it. Now that I understand the layout.
All right, so you want to just sit and watch for a little bit longer?
I mean, I think we saw that it's a pleasant-looking man. I mean, he doesn't scream, "I skin you alive."
I mean, like I said,
Unless you're a mallard.
Give me a couple of minutes. And Cleo will leave, and she will kind of go out of view of the taxidermy shop, and she'll like cross to in front of it and like back around and come in front of it, and she will, as she's doing it, kind of be going through her things, and she'll stop and she'll take out a cigarette and she'll smoke kind of in front of the
Okay.
shop.
do you
That's
want to?
good.
Are you doing a little reach out,
Yeah.
or you just want to see
Nothing-
if you get any vibes off of it?
Yeah, it's like she's not like actively poking, but she is sort of like, oh, is there anything strange?
Sure. If anything, you feel maybe just like general anxiety, but nothing that you would, how do I say this? Nothing that you wouldn't expect from probably other men of that age that may have served in the war. It's kind of it's a general feeling of anxiety, or maybe even a little depression. But
I guess you are surrounded by corpses.
well, there is
day.
that too. But you don't feel anything from the animals. If there are any animals inside, you don't feel anything. Like there's nothing
like, "Help
horrific.
me."
Yeah, yeah. I will say, go ahead, just for grins, give me one of your reach out rolls. I'm not going to have you reach out, but I'm just going to have you see if you can.
Okay, just like a medium.
Yeah,
as
give
opposed
me a
to
medium roll.
Pow.
We're checking for your prickle tickle roll.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's the prickle tickle roll.
That's an extreme success with a.
Okay.
I don't know why I'm showing my microphone like that's my camera.
Can't see me. I just hit my nose. That hurt. No, you on the edges, on the very, very edges of that general anxiety, and that general just, as most people do, there's probably some sort of like mental health. Something's not quite balanced, but it's not over. It's nothing like the sanitarium that you visited in Paris. It's just general people stuff. On the very edges, you start to feel something very similar to how the Dreamlands felt, but different. Like very close, but maybe a shade off. So instead of royal purple, it's like shifting a little bit more towards blue. And no, you wouldn't have. You understand that it's so like the Dreamlands that you would have just thought it was the Dreamlands. Like there's some sort of somebody in this vicinity is touched by the Dreamlands,
Okay.
or something similar. And as you're there smoking, you hear movement in the shop behind you, because you're by the shop, right? You're out in front of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You hear movement in the shop behind you, and the door opens, and the same man kind of comes out. He's still got a cigarette in his mouth, but you see him like tapping a little box of cigarettes, and he empties it out, like he shakes it like he's emptying it out. One cigarette comes out. He lights it, pops it in his mouth, and pockets the empty box, and he starts like he notices you, and he's like, "Oh, good morning," in a British accent, and he kind of walks off for a little bit.
She kind of watches, like she like notices it. She says hello when he says hello, and then she kind of goes back to smoking, and out of the corner of her eye, she kind of watches him go for a little bit, and then kind of turns when he's down enough that he's not,
Okay.
so close, just to kind of watch where he walks.
Okay. Yeah, you watch him go. He probably goes maybe he doesn't get out of eyeshot, and he actually doesn't turn off. But you see that there is, you see him stop farther down at like a street vendor, like another like newsstand type place. And you see him purchase more cigarettes,
Mm.
and then he turns and he comes back down.
She just
And
continues.
as he approaches, because you did respond to his good morning also in English, he says, English. You speak English?
I do.
American?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. He's like, I can speak French and German, and I love the Swiss, but sometimes it's just nice to be able to talk to somebody in your native tongue. I've kind of missed it. My brother and I, we talk. Well, we don't really talk, but I've not seen you around before. Are you visiting, or what brings you to Lausanne? And he keeps an appropriate distance from you, but he leans also against the wall, and he smokes.
Traveling through. I'm a passenger on the express that travels through, and I heard that there was a convention of sorts happening in the city, and I've heard nothing but things about this city, that it's beautiful, and is it a river? Above
No,
board?
a lake,
Is it a river?
lake.
The
It's
lake.
Lake Geneva.
Lake Geneva, that's right.
It's
The lake.
the lake.
The water.
I love Lausanne. My brother and I chose this place specifically when we left London after the war, to kind of convalesce and live a quiet life and practice our trade or apply our trade, and it is a wonderful city to visit for sure. And the lake is beautiful. And yes, there is a conference in town. Politicians meddling in other countries' affairs and trying to decide
I
what's
understand
best.
none of it.
I did my time in the service, and that's enough for me. I don't really want to have to worry about what all the politicians are doing anymore.
No, I agree.
And and he smokes, and I'm gonna say, go ahead and give me another medium roll, or occult. Give me an occult roll. Might be the same.
Yeah, okay, that's a hard success.
There's something about this guy that kind of, maybe there's something about him and his the energy that he's giving that you have experienced in other people that are interested in the same things you are. It's very light, not something specific, but you get kind of there's like a little occult, one of those occult like handshakes going on. You get a little feeling. Johanna has it as well, and other people that are practiced in some form of occult interest, but that could be anything from anything. It could be anything.
Sure.
You're not bad. Doesn't mean everybody. Johanna's not bad yet.
Right. She turns back and she looks at the sign and she says, "How long have you been practicing?"
Well, this kind of started as a hobby when I was. You mean taxidermy? I assume above the.
I do.
Yeah. It started as a hobby back in England. My father was a hunter. And so he was interested in the taxidermy, and I always thought it was kind of a way to preserve, the beauty of nature in a more lasting fashion. But after I went, I was in the war, and now that you're closer to him, you do feel like he's younger than he looks. Like, you can tell that some of his aging seems almost premature.
And go to the war, no doubt.
Yeah, and he kind of gives that impression too. When he talks about the war and just even saying, after I served, when he mentions serving in the military, it is not a fond memory for him. But he talks about him and his brother both served briefly, and afterwards, when they decided to come here, they were like, well, this would be a good trade. There's lots of wildlife around here of all sorts of, different sizes that we don't necessarily see in England. It felt like the right place to be. And we had the skills, so might as well use them.
True. I've always found taxidermy fascinating as a trade and as a thing, but I often find myself fascinated by sometimes things that are more macabre, I guess is the term for it.
Sure. Hey, well, yeah, you have to, you have to be okay with, you kind of have to reconcile a lot of things when you're dealing, unfortunately, with, these carcasses and sort. But, the more macabre things and, all of that is kind of interesting to me as well. There's all kinds of stuff that we don't particularly understand, and it always kind of begs the question, thank God we don't thank God we only stuff animals. We've had the weirdest requests, but I couldn't do that.
Really?
Leave that to the mortuary.
Interesting.
You.
People are strange. People are
That's a fact. That's a fact. Yes, I've always been kind of fascinated, not only in nature or in the nature of taxidermy, but also just in general, kind of death. Not death in its death in the more esoteric.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
What happens?
I too often wonder what is the more ethereal, the more esoteric, metaphysical, if you will. All of that is truly fascinating. Death, the act thereof, and things like that. Though after the war, I can't be around it. Sometimes it saddens me when they bring in their, these creatures that have been killed. I have had to go. I've become somewhat of a pacifist since my time in I don't France. Where was the World War was everywhere, right?
It was the Western Front.
The Western Front, yeah. We'll say it was in France. And so, but yeah, he talks to you for a little bit, and he says, "Well, the esoteric stuff is also quite interesting. It's hard, we don't really have anything to. It's an amateur hobby of mine, I suppose, but I don't know much about anything. I've come across a few interesting things in my time here, but and especially during the war, we found all kinds of things. Then,
well, I imagine that the artifacts and just things that would, I don't know, be discovered in places.
It's fascinating. I traded for one time and he laughs. And while you've been talking, he's of course been still just puffing away.
And she's probably not to the level that he
Sure.
is, but for every 2 or 3 cigarettes she may smoke one.
Smoke another one. And he's like, I met this chap that he actually had it was something that had been in his family for a long time, and he was really looking for cigarettes and rations, and I had some extra, and I thought it was kind of a cool. We kept talking about this scroll that his some ancestor of his had picked up right before the French Revolution, and I traded him for this very interesting scroll. I haven't had a whole lot. It's the I'm not one for foreign languages. So, I mean, I can get around, of course, here in Switzerland. I can do business and things like that. But these are like the characters are from one language or gosh, I can't think of what one alphabet. The characters are from one alphabet, but the words are in another. It's very strange.
Fascinating.
Give me a idea roll, Cleo.
Yeah, okay.
It's up at the top. It's like
Yep. Yeah, it's under it's intelligence. I will spend 4 luck and make that a hard success.
okay, fantastic. You recall that I believe it's the skin note was Turkish words in Arabic characters,
Mm,
I believe.
Mm-hmm.
It was a note that you got somewhere in London.
yeah. Yes, I've seen in my studies and in my time, I've seen it's not terribly common, but I've seen things like that before.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating. Please, we've been standing out here. It's January in the mountains. Would you like to come inside, please? I could we could have tea. I could, he's in again. If you want to do like a psych roll to
Yeah.
get insight on him, go ahead.
Sure, I'll do. Yeah, I'll do that.
I really feel
I'll do
like
a
Sean
psych.
and I are just sitting on her shoulders.
Yes. No. That's a regular success. Oh no, it's not. That's an extreme success. That's
Oh,
a 1, not a.
Fantastic. Like, is it a 1-1?
Well, no, it's an 11.
Oh, okay.
It's just I thought it was a 70, but it's an 11.
Oh, okay, nice. You're really not getting anything weird off of him. He seems really genuine. He seems like he's just enjoying talking to someone in English, and now you have kind of this shared interest. He says, please do come in. If you have time, I don't want to take you away from anything important, but I would love to talk about the scroll some more.
Sure, I have time. Here, just let me, and she'll lean down, she'll put her cigarette out, and she'll actually pick a couple of them up to throw them into, if there's like a trash receptacle
Sure.
around where they are, and
Yeah,
she'll
sure.
do that, and she'll kind of look across the street and see if she can make eye contact.
Pretty sure
The
the
two in
Countess's face is up against the glass.
Not that bad. Not that bad.
I mean, I've been watching the whole time because that's
The other cafe patrons are like, what are they doing?
What are they
Weird
doing?
people.
it's okay, we're out of town.
That girl and her dad are being really strange.
You gotta remind everyone, Kelsey's only 35.
Yeah, but you look.
Yeah, but you live in a smoking era and look like you're 70. That's how that works.
No, Johanna just looks really young.
That's true. She is
Look,
the youngest.
Johanna with her, look at her with her dad and her grandma. What are they doing? It's a family
How
vacation.
dare you call Johanna American?
I didn't say. Did I say she was American?
They are.
Oh yeah, they are making assumptions as to your lineage or your nationality. So she makes eye contact. Are any
Yeah,
of
she
you?
just makes eye contact to sort of,
I'm gonna go inside, boy.
I'm gonna look at her and be like, she makes a comment.
And I'm going to shake my head no.
Well, what are you gonna do, Cleo?
No, she's gonna go in. She was just telling them that she was going in.
Oh, this wasn't permission.
She wasn't
this was
asking.
Notification.
Okay.
Gotcha.
I was just letting you know that I remember that you're in there, and I'm gonna go take tea with this chap. So,
Well, so mine was less encouraged, like, give you push, like,
do it. Okay. So, with that, he's you turn around, you tell him you're gonna go inside.
Yeah.
All right. Fantastic.
Murdered immediately.
Please do come in. Lose all your hit points upon crossing the threshold. No,
Oh, God.
no. Please do come in, and Johanna and Kelsey, you see Cleo follow this man into the taxidermy shop, and the door closes, and we are going to pause there for a break. So we will be back in 10 minutes, y'all. Thank you so much for being here. Remember, you do have Cthulhu's that you can spend. You can have your ticket stamped. You can give luck advances. You can give rerolls, I believe. If there were combat, which there's never combat on this show, you could tell them that, they could get all kinds of fun things. Yeah, get your ticket stamped there, Matt. Yeah, you can do all kinds of things. I hope you all have your bingo cards out and you're having a good time. We have had a few. Oh, so Allah is going to join us at the break, but apparently she wasn't ready for break. So we got 10 minutes. Y'all come back. We will have once again a full cast at the table. Maybe a little longer than 10 minutes. We'll see. But thank you so much for being here tonight. We'll be back in a few. Stick with us. Hi, welcome back to Illuminated Page as we play Horror on the Orient Express. We are back at a full docket today. We have all of our cast members here. Ala was able to join us. Her internet was resuscitated and revived by the Spectrum Necromancer, and everything is okay. I did want to remind you all, we do have, of course, all of our social media things that you can check us out on. We have a Facebook, we have YouTube, we have a Twitter, we have a Discord. If you have not joined our Discord already, what the hell is wrong with you? If you don't use Discord, that's understandable. But if you do, come talk to us. We're pretty chill, and we talk about just all kinds of shit, from games to all kinds of stuff. I think there's a play-by-post Shadowrun game is going to get started up somewhere.
Yeah.
Seeing some murmurs about that. But yeah, we have a lot of fun over there, so please do check us out.
My favorite part is the daily writing prompts, honestly. Like, if I just
It is
would
a lot
take
of
more
fun.
time to sit down and write, but they're great prompts. Fantastic.
Absolutely. We have a small group that has started taking this amongst upon themselves. We have Dot, who does it during the week, and then Greg has taken it over on Saturdays and Sundays, and it's a lot of fun. I don't participate as often as I should either, but every now and again I do, and it's a good time. They're very good writing prompts. I mean, they're just kind of like images and make you think about something for a little bit. And actually, Rev started doing some like writing tips and stuff in there as well. So we've got a little community.
Rev read
there.
over a couple of my things and gave me some super solid writing advice, and I was very happy to have had that happen.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Rev is a very good writer, and I realize right now that I was supposed to read something for you like a week ago, and I am so sorry.
Me? Or for
No,
Rev?
for Rev. So thank you for not yelling at me. But I'm
helped.
sorry. I'm a bad friend.
It's okay. I helped.
Thank you, Sean. Pick up my slack.
Rev, we'll just punish her with shenanigans here. Don't worry.
Too late.
I
First, we're gonna
also
go buy luggage.
I do need to say that a Spectrum Necromancer would just be a Spectromancer.
Yes.
And I really had to get that out. I really had to say
I
it.
could see that there was something just under the surface.
I was like, I really have to say
I need to
this.
say this now.
And now that you guys have jinxed it, I'm going to have to suffer an internet outage again. So,
Well, I apologize.
Fingers crossed.
Does it look
Knock
like
on
it's
wood,
going down?
Talk over the shoulder.
I currently no, but it's Spectrum, so.
No, that's fine. We'll see. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I had to look at the elephant in the room, but it was there, and they deserve love too. Let's just real quick. Also, we have coming back tomorrow night is The Voyages of, which is our weekly Star Trek adventure show. It took a hiatus last week as well. I'm running tomorrow night's game, so if you like the way I do things here, prepare for it to be completely the same tomorrow, and they're going to meet a taxidermist. Weird.
More importantly, we've got
True.
2 more episodes after tomorrow night of this season. So if you haven't caught any of it yet, you definitely come out for it. Yeah, listen, we sped through and then we missed a couple of shows.
You're right.
Weird.
You're right.
There's been some weird stuff going on. The universe does not like
This
some of the
entire
people.
quarter of shows has been plagued.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. But we're here now, and we'll be there tomorrow night. So we're down to the last 3 episodes of the season.
Yep.
For Star Trek. Wow. Good God. I think. Wow. Okay. Well, we're going to tell a story tomorrow night that means nothing. I mean, unless Matt makes it mean something. So let's see.
It all means something.
It all means something.
And I think I've been
Charlie Day at that freaking board. It means something.
I think I'm in all 3 of those last ones as well.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible.
I think I'm finally not in anymore. After tomorrow night, I'm not anymore this season, unless somebody needs me there. So we'll see how it goes. And then Tuesday night, of course, we have our pirate show by Leaps and Bounties, which is GM'd by Danny. It features myself and Ala and John and Michael. I'm looking at Sean and Matt, and I'm like, they are not the men on the show. But yeah, that's a 7th C 2nd edition actual play. So please come out for that. That one only has maybe 6 episodes left this season. 4 or 5, maybe. I can't remember now. We'll see. We kind of run until we die.
I think it's 6 to 8. I don't know. We'll figure it out when a good
figure it
stopping
out.
point happens. It'll happen.
And then, of course, we have some things to look forward to starting in October, so keep an ear out for that. But
Do you mind,
without-
actually? I'm sorry, Roxy.
yeah, go ahead.
Do you mind? Starting January 3rd on a different channel, if you look at my name over yonder, I think it's that way, I don't know. I will be running The Gilded Griffin. Fall of Akatoria is the storyline.
Nice.
I've got 4 fantastic cast members, of which you've seen Monica before. She's been on a couple of things.
Awesome.
But that will be a full D&D story because I like D&D because I'm a that nerd. But yeah, that'll start up October
Nothing
3rd and
wrong
run
with
through the
that.
end of the year. So
Awesome.
we've got a solid story there coming.
Okay, yeah, you confused me because you said January 3rd first, and I was like,
I'm sorry,
oh,
October
wow, we're
3rd.
really,
No,
We're-
October
I was
3rd.
like, whoa.
wow,
Yeah.
it's 7 o'clock and we're talking about January.
Yep.
No.
Time flies.
Yep. No, we'll also have a fantasy show starting here. John is going to be running Dragon Age, so it's going to be fourth quarter is going to be fun, y'all. But let's get back into this. That break was longer than it should have been, and I've rambled on longer than I should have, as usual. But let's get back to Cleo slipping into the taxidermy shop at 50 Rue Saint Etienne in Lausanne, Switzerland. So you enter. Edgar shows you in. At some point, he introduced himself. I don't think I actually role-played that, but you know that this is Edgar Wellington.
I
This is-
assumed that it was.
Yeah, and I'm going to assume that you gave a name. What name would you have liked to have given him?
She would have probably given him Cleo.
Perfect. So he says, "Well, come on," and the first room is a taxidermy shop. There is a roaring fire in the fireplace. Again, it is January, but and it is uncomfortably warm in here. But mostly you look around and you see like all these animals in strange poses, little glass eyes glint in the orange firelight. It looks exactly like what you would expect. You can smell like dried lavender, and or you see vases full of like dried lavender and other aromatic flowers. You can smell some of that, but also it doesn't take a roll to know that it's also underneath all that is kind of that smell of decay, damp fur, and of course like formaldehyde and preservatives and things like that. It's
Can't wait for that tea.
and so hot in here and smelling like decay. My favorite. But he kind of chats casually with you, and he says, "Please come upstairs. That's where the kitchen. My brother and I live up there." And he leads you upstairs to a small kitchen. It is nicely appointed. It seems pleasant. There's nothing weird. You don't smell anything foul or anything up here. That is all down in the
There's just like a dead body in the kitchen. He's like, oh, silly me.
Pardon me, that's dear old dad.
That's been flayed.
Yeah, he's like, oh my goodness.
But yeah, he talks to you a little bit, chit chat about the weather, asks how long you're staying, things like that, and he starts to prepare you tea if you would like it. So how do you take your tea? Milk, sugar, honey?
You know, honestly, I know it's a little early, but I think I'm fine for right now. And she takes out her flask.
Mark your bingo squares, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, he's like, oh, of course. None for me.
You know, in America, we don't get a lot of it these days.
That's true. That's true. Prohibition is in full swing. As he prepares tea and sits down, you do hear somebody moving out in the hall, and a moment later, you assume it is his brother that he has mentioned, and he has referred to him by his name, which is William. But this other man enters, and he kind of keeps his gaze downcast. He does wear a hat that he keeps pulled down. It's kind of sitting awkwardly, like it's an ill-fitting hat, like it's not quite the right size. And it's kind of pulled down to his ears, and he, enters and he looks, he's got very, very intense eyes. They don't look strange except in the fact that they seem to only look straight ahead. So as he enters and he looks at you, you see him, and then Edgar's like, "Oh, this is my brother. This is my brother William. And this is Miss Dandridge, Cleo. She was outside. She was, you know how just like I've missed just being able to." And then he kind of stumbles over his words, and he kind of pauses. He goes, "It was just we struck up a conversation." And
We did.
and he says, "Forgive William if he doesn't say anything. He is mute. The war left him unable to speak." And William, he nods. His eyes stay fixed as they were when you walked in, or when he walked in, and he goes over and he starts
Are
preparing
they
himself.
glass?
They are
Does
not.
he have like 2 glass eyes? Okay.
They're not. And Edgar leans across and he says, just because it might be a little unsettling, he suffered cranial injuries that actually left his eyes paralyzed. So he cannot track movement without moving his whole head. So, and again, he won't say much, but he can write and converse, and can listen, of course. So, but yeah, William prepares himself some tea, and then he comes back to the table and he sits down, and he doesn't seem to wish to interrupt the flow of conversation, and he just listens intently, and he will look back and forth between the two of you. Go ahead and give me a if you're interested in your noticing while he was preparing his tea, give me a spot hidden. See, you all didn't go with her, so now this is just the Cleo and me show.
Oh God.
Well, some of us wanted to go with her, but she just went in there by herself.
Well, you can always go and knock on the door.
Yeah, I was actually waiting to talk to everybody and see what they wanted to do.
Okay. Well, I'll let her make this roll, and then we'll go back to y'all.
No, well, yeah.
Johanna and her dad and grandma.
That's a hard
Watch
success.
A hard success?
Yeah.
So, as William is making his tea and he comes back and he sits down, he says, or he doesn't say anything, but you notice that the hat seems to bulge in a way that indicates that his head is likely misshapen. Now, based on what Edgar told you, that's not
Right, he had a
improbable.
cranial. Yeah,
He had
it's
massive cranial trauma during the war.
yeah. So he kind of wears the hat to.
He wears the hat to cover a lot of the scars and things like that.
I thought it was a
So-
fez under there.
It's not that shape. It's
Could be.
I mean, it depends on the maker of the fez, I guess.
Sir, do you have Ray Fiennes on your head?
Just under there. But
You have a little friend.
yeah. Ah, Jesus. This fucking show. But Edgar continues to entertain you. I will, because I was with you before the break, let's go ahead and go back to the cafe and see what our spectators, our voyeurs, are doing now that they cannot voyeur.
No, we're still voyeuring. It's just not much to watch.
Just poorly. Once she goes inside, I will turn to Kelsey and say, Mr. Haskins, how long do we wait before we check on her?
20 minutes.
20.
She seemed to have been engaged in a pretty friendly conversation. Let's give her a chance to get the information. I'm fairly certain that if something goes wrong or she feels unsafe, that she will let us know.
Really, even 20 minutes is probably more than enough.
And then we go knocking
Go
on the
longer,
door.
really. I'm sure if there was trouble, we would hear the screams.
I'm not.
She's like, just wait until she dies. My God.
Yeah, it's fine.
I would
We'll
like
be
you
able to take her stuffed version back home with us.
We have the arm.
I would appreciate it if we didn't leave our expert on occult things alone and in potential danger while we still have questions about the occult.
Granted, but how do you propose that we go over there without looking like utter fools?
To be honest, You have no idea what she said. She could have said, "Oh, I'm here with friends."
Well,
She
you
could have
are an
not.
American, and there's a
Miss
level of foolishness that's expected. So that's
Miss
not out
Danger
of the
has
question.
proven herself capable on many occasions. I don't see why we are so concerned. If she needs our assistance, I'm sure she will find a way to notify us. I am enjoying this coffee. It is quite nice.
Emily is suddenly far more lively than she's been for the last 2.5 hours.
She's been enjoying her coffee a lot.
She finally got over. She finally
It's
woke
like
up
it
from the
finally
dreamlands.
Yeah. It's been a very long, cold day, and this is kind of nice.
She just took the whole carafe from the original cafe and has been just like with a straw, like one of those little coffee stirs, a swizzle stick. She just, and it just took this long to, really fuel up.
Let's give her 20 minutes. If we haven't heard anything, then we go check on her.
20 minutes. I hate you guys. Okay, 20 minutes.
We could.
This is what I'm trying to
Doesn't
say.
mean we have to do 20 minutes of game time.
Well,
Yeah.
Johanna. Oh yeah, I know. Johanna can just go over there. If Johanna's like I ain't waiting anymore. I'm gonna go over there. I want to know what's in the big scary room. Here we go. Cleo, while you're in there talking to William and Edgar, you see that the window to look out across
Oh
the
my!
street is right there. And
Waves at us.
But see, she's fine.
You guys just see her get dragged away. No. You look like you have something to say, Johanna.
So I'm going to give it a few minutes, and then I am just going to get up, check to make sure that I am armed, and stride across the street. Because they will follow me, or they won't, and then Emily will have to explain it to Dad.
Or I let you both go in and y'all get slaughtered by the taxidermist, and then I free with the
You gotta
arm.
Yeah.
get home, though.
I
Free?
wish
What are
this-
you,
I think there's a
imprisoned?
clause in my contract that
If you die on your own
absolves
stupidity,
me of stupidity.
We'll find out.
I won't lead you into danger, but if you go there willingly, then I can't do a whole lot about it.
I'm
Before-
only paid so much to care.
if you if you get into danger before I've had my coffee, well, you're fucked.
Yeah, once it's been a few minutes, Johanna is very impatient and concerned.
Okay.
Right, but
We'll get up and go.
Well, we can see her through the window, and she's fine.
That was a joke.
has-
That was purely a
Oh.
joke.
I mean,
Well, in that case,
Commit
it's
to the
fine.
bit.
I mean,
Nala,
you're
thank
kind
you.
of. I mean, you're going to break.
Oh, we do have a luck advance in chat, so if you want to roll that d6 while you guys have a chit chat.
well, we do have the cat with us. We can say that the cat is in dire straits, and we are looking for an opportunity to get a good cat taxidermy.
Can you please?
Can
I
you
ask
please
if they
take care
can-
of this
if they
for
can,
me?
if they could put the monogram on the cat too? Is that
I mean, if you give Kelsey 5 minutes, just saying, we
It
could
could
actually
go a
have
lot
a
of
cover story.
ways.
so?
So
Yeah.
Johanna
After
goes
the-
over. You ring the bell.
Yeah, as long as the door is not locked. Did he clearly lock it behind Cleo?
He every time, like when you earlier this morning, you saw the person try the door and it was locked, and the door just is the kind that locks behind.
Fair
Like he didn't turn around and lock it.
and
like-
laugh maniacally while he did it.
Welcome to my fire room with dead things and glass eyes. Please join me.
Want
No.
tea?
Do you want some tea, love? No, we also have a reroll on the table. Thank you. Oh, we have
Ooh.
3 rerolls on.
Everybody's getting rerolls. It looks like.
Everyone gets
3.
a
Oh,
reroll.
okay. Everyone gets a reroll. Reroll for you and a reroll
Rad.
for you.
Do we have to check under our chairs for those?
Not today, thankfully.
No, and I'll go ahead and ring the bell.
Okay. So Cleo, while you're talking to Edgar, you hear the bell ring, and he's like, you even see William kind of, look towards the door, but Edgar is like, oh, please excuse me, and he comes down the stairs. He opens the door and he finds the Countess. Hello.
In German, my native language, I'll say.
My
Pardon me,
nat-
sir. I believe a friend of mine is inside. Miss Dandridge.
and you see him. He lives in the French part of Switzerland, and he's like, you kind of like see him like, he looks at you. He doesn't like tick off on his fingers like he's counting, but
when
it takes him a moment to parse.
Yeah, when it takes just long enough that he didn't hear me, understand me the first time, I repeat it in French.
And he's like, okay, and he in kind of broken French, he says, you're looking for your friend? Like he repeats you kind of with uptick at the end.
And then again, in English, I will say it again.
Oh,
and look quite annoyed. Like they're just this like, you know that look from girls in high school.
I do. Are you looking for Miss Dandridge?
Yes.
Oh, a friend of hers. Please do come in. She didn't mention friends, but please do come in.
We had been at the cafe. She stepped out for a cigarette.
Oh, well, yeah. In fact, we had a lovely chat outside. Please do come in. Are there more of you?
I'm not sure if they're coming with me or not, but there are. I have a couple of companions there.
Let's split the screen now between Johanna and Edgar, as Edgar is starting to lead her up the stairs and mentioning that the cheese Danish across the street is one of the best pastries in the city. And then Emily sipping her coffee and Kelsey watching out the window. Is that where you all would like to be? We'll spend the rest of the episode in split screen, if I must, with the two of you who casually.
The Ocean's 11 screen where the two screens pop up, and then we just see Blackjack running across the
the Blackjack is just playing on the dream train. He's like,
yeah.
Mew, mew.
I'll look at Emily and it's like, are we letting her go in?
Well, we should probably go with them if we must. I'm sure this is going to be completely fine, but Johanna will say something and it will misdoubt shit.
I agree.
So, suppose we should go check on them.
See, now I feel like a princess. I guess we should go check on them.
All right, we're making
If we must. Cleo, I had no doubt, could take care of herself, but Johanna is Johanna, so...
Bit of a handful.
And then you walk in and just see me touching all of the taxidermy stuff.
We can't afford to pay for every single piece of taxidermy.
Sorry. I got a motion to my side. Confused.
I mean, I guess if Johanna waves at us, we can pay our tab and walk over there.
Considering she just kind of blew the fact that we could have been back up.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how are you going to get in? Are you going to break?
No, we get in.
Are you going to locksmith?
No. Yeah, he would lock his smith his way in.
You would locksmith your way in broad daylight. Oh, the rolls we would have made. Sean.
If there was screaming going on inside, yeah.
Okay, so do you wait or do you go like while he's there when she says, I don't know if they're coming with me or not? Edgar might look. Oh, do you have more friends over there? Oh, was it the two in the window?
Yeah, I'll pop over and we'll both wave, and I'll wave.
Okay. Oh, I can wait here for them if you would like to go on upstairs. Cleo is up there with my brother, William. Yeah, when he starts to go, she's talking. Well, she's not talking to my brother William, but yes.
No, I'll go upstairs.
Okay.
Make her way over, looking kind of
with the cat and everything.
Okay. Got the cat. Is going.
I'm
to
just
be
assuming the cat is with us now. So
does Emily just carry the cat now?
In the basket with the snacks and the juice boxes? Yeah.
Well, we have to punish Olive for not being in any control of Spectrum whatsoever.
Yeah. That's punishment. Sorry, Brent.
Yeah, he's got to carry the cat everywhere.
All right.
Could have something happened.
The good news is, like, when we get to the point where like all the Egyptian stuff comes up, because it's inevitable in every Call of Cthulhu scenario, we've got a cat. We're protected. We're good.
That's right.
That's
So
exactly how that works.
as the three of you, we're going to kind of hand wave that you've gone upstairs. I assumed again that you introduced yourself as Countess Johanna blah, 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 Rinaldi Stad. Edgar and Cleo, you notice this in his demeanor as he comes up the stairs and your friends join you. You notice that he's even nicer now. Like he's like, oh, well, and he's talking to the count. He's like, please tell me about your travels. I haven't been able to leave Lausanne in some time. Cleo says that you are traveling on the Orient Express. That sounds wonderful. Please do. And he just starts asking you all about yourselves, about the world around you, or where have you been, and all of that. So many different. What brings you all together? This is fascinating. Is this your father, Ms. Dandridge?
No, I'm from America.
It's like 30.
I know.
It's so, like she looks younger, but it's like she's like a couple of years younger than Kelsey.
Well, and Sean goes, I know I'm American. Well, so is Cleo. So
I understand my appearance is only 45.
well,
But I am not that old.
Well, I'll be honest with you. Edgar, which he might tell you, when he refers to the war and when he joined the war and things like that, you get the impression that he is actually, again, younger than he looks. He looks like a kind of world-worn, world-weary mid-50s, but he is only 35 as well. So
Kelsey had a hard
the
life,
fact
but
that-
he didn't fight in the war, so...
the fact that he has indicated that you're their dad, it is probably because you don't look as fancy as the Countess does. So just the
So
way it is.
No one
to
does.
answer Edgar's question.
Yeah.
After some time fleeing back to Austria, I returned to London most recently to attend the Imperial College after Oxford for my studies in history and languages specifically. So my travels have not been as extensive as they could have been, but I have seen quite a bit of London, some of the countryside near London, as well as bits of Paris.
Fantastic. And I mean, really, he just seems like he's definitely interested in all of these things, and because he asks all of you in turn, and I'm sure you answer in various ways. If you all want to give me psych rolls, you are more than welcome to determine if this friendliness seems genuine or not.
Oh,
Is Emily only 45? Anna, I thought you said she was in her 50s.
He's 45 on the sheet, but
See, you've been playing her like
it's
she's
an
like,
8. It's
58.
a war-worn 45, so
Yeah.
There we
probably
go.
closer to 60.
I got an extreme success.
Oh,
I'm
fantastic.
very excited about my extreme success.
Fantastic.
I must be still annoyed that someone asked if I was the father, so I just...
I don't like
Emily
this guy.
also failed it.
Yeah.
All of my psych rolls are fuck you. So, but Johanna, you do get the impression you've seen this demeanor before when you throw your name around and your station and your title. That he is definitely being a little bit more ingratiating. You kind of get that salesman thing, and you do remember that he is a shop owner.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you don't know what he might be trying to sell you, but he does kind of take on that. Oh, there's money in the room.
And embroidered stuff.
I like money. Yeah.
Remember me when your pet passes.
Oh, hello, Kitty. Kitty. I have glass eyes downstairs that match that perfectly.
This one is unfortunately healthy.
Fortunately healthy.
You are a burst of sunshine this dreary January day, Miss Bront.
I am curious, Mr.
Wellington.
It's just Wellington. What interesting information did you entice Miss Dandridge with? She's not often does she wander off without
wander off with strangers, and he says,
yeah,
and
without
he's
something
laughing.
tantalizing.
Well, I was just about to ask, are all of you interested in kind of the weird and the occult? Ms. Dandridge and I had been talking about an artifact that I picked up during the war from a young chap who'd been in his family for years.
Some of us are skeptics, but I myself am quite interested.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. Well, he goes on to tell you, he's like, well, I picked up the scroll. It is the chap I picked it up off of was Raoul Malon was his name, and he wanted rations and cigarettes, and it was pretty rough. I probably should be about as glib about it as I am, but it's always fascinating the things that people will give up, and why he had this with him in the first place doesn't make a lot of sense, but he had it, and it was it's a scroll. It had been in his family for years. Said that they picked it up right before the French Revolution, but it's what I was telling Miss Dandridge is that it's got Turkish words written in Arabic letters.
Interesting. Are you sure that they're Turkish and Arabic? Do you mind? As a student of languages, I'd love to see that.
Well, unfortunately, it's in a bank vault. It's I will say I'm not against parting with it, but I do have it tucked away safely. It's something that old. But I can tell you a little bit what I know about it, if you'd like me to.
Yes, anything that you have, any information would be fantastic. You just went silent.
Oh, I do want those of you that are interested to give me an intelligence roll.
Does have any? Nope, never mind. Doesn't matter. Yeah,
This is a memory thing, so.
It's a success.
Hard success.
Success.
Extreme success, but
Of course. Well, Emily immediately hones in on the name Melon, and the rest of you also remember that Luis Melon was the soldier, I believe, that went into Fenelix's home when he was arrested and saw them. I believe he was the one that said they were running like rabbits or dogs or something everywhere. And he was one of the people that took some of the possessions out of the house. He was one of the soldiers amongst whom things were divvied up. So you do recognize that surname, and you assume Raoul was one of his descendants. But yeah, he said, so I already told you where I got it. I've told you what it says. I'm not really able to translate much of it, but I have had some help with that, and I've got a little bit. And what little bit that we have is that it refers to something called the Sedefkash Simulacrum. I don't know if you've heard of anything like that, but it's apparently some human-sized statue that was either made or found in the rubble of Byzantium, which is also fascinating to me. And the simulacrum was last owned. What I could find about it was that it was last owned by a German noble that lived in France. I actually reached out to the current people, or the current family that lives on the land in outside Paris, but haven't heard back from them.
Can I roll charm and try and get him to divulge any other information? Just any tidbit. It sounds like he's done a lot, but I want to make sure that I'm getting whether he's just interested in crap or if there's another bend here.
Sure. And what was your psych roll earlier on him?
Oh, it was a 3. I was extreme success. Yeah.
You definitely get the impression that he knows more than he's saying.
Okay. I got a hard success on charm.
On the charm? Okay,
so
well,
I'll like touch his hand and like seem like I'm very interested in everything that he's saying.
And remember, he also said that he was not opposed to parting with it. Mm-hmm. So if you wanted to, throw some more of that credit rating around in your charm there, and imply that you are an interested buyer, he may.
I will imply that I'm interested, but I have to know more.
Okay.
Like, my father would be very upset if I bought an artifact of that like that without verifying a lot of the information.
Okay. Well, I don't blame you. As I said, it is in a bank vault. As far as honestly, because of how little I've been able to figure out with it, I did like I said, I had someone help me with the translation. I do have a full translation of it, but it doesn't really make any sense to me. It's not very.
Do you have that here?
No, I have that with it in the vault. I am more than happy to go today and get it if you are interested. Like I said, I kind of feel like I've reached the end of my research with it. Everything is coming up, dead ends. So I'd be happy to offload it for, I wouldn't take a lot, 250 pounds.
That's reasonable, right? That's well more than
It's
reasonable.
in US dollars at the time it was 1250. So you mean it's $1,000, but it is a artifact from before the French Revolution.
Cleo and Cleo's like, oh, what? Yeah.
That's a lot of
It's
money.
like a lot of money to me now.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. Yeah.
And I think if I remember correctly from the book, so francs, I think both French and Swiss francs are like 72 to the pound.
Okay.
So it's even more in that currency, but he starts it at 250. It's like I really couldn't go lower than that. It is. But I like I said, I'd be happy. And if you need to look at it first, of course.
Yes.
I can.
Why don't Emily has an eye. Miss Bront has an eye for value, and I would like to have her and I give a chance to look over it.
Absolutely. Of course. And he, as you're talking, the bell rings again, and he's like, I didn't have any other customers planned for the day, but the shop's popular. And he says, please excuse me,
Are
William.
there windows that look down out on the door?
We will say that yes, the window I mentioned earlier does look over the front of the shop.
I want to look out and make sure that that whoever's out there has all of their skin.
You look out there, and it's kind of an awkward angle, of course. You're doing the face, the forehead against the glass, trying to see what you can. There is a very very large Frenchman, and large in the rotund way. But Edgar says, I'll be back in a minute.
I like that we can tell he's French.
Yeah, that's my bad. That's my
wearing
bad.
a beret. He's got a beret on. And
He's got a beret.
He's
He
got
has
a
a
black and
baguette
white striped
clutched to his
shirt with a little
chest.
red ascot. Yeah, he's holding a baguette and just eating it.
Yeah,
And wine in
box.
the other hand.
That
We could
was a
just-
mistake on my part, but yes, a very rotund man.
We could just feel the condescension coming so well off of him.
Nose in the air, and
I mean,
so
snootiness is French, Austrian. I mean,
the Americans insulting Europeans is not on the bingo card because that's rude. So thank you for all the gifts that I've seen 2 gifted subscriptions tonight. Thank you so much, guys. But anyway, he goes downstairs, leaving the 4 of you with William, who you were introduced to, even though I didn't do it word by word. But he actually is rather he wants to chat, and so he's got a pen and paper that he keeps with him, and he, so your travels sound fascinating. How are you finding Switzerland?
cold.
Quaint in a very calming way.
Quaint in a calming way. And he goes, I like to say that Lausanne is very placid. Would you say?
Yes, that is.
And he can, and, he just small talk that he has to write out. And but he's very, very friendly as well. And
Leo at one point does write on his, even though she could speak, she like writes on his piece of paper back to him, "Do you dream, William?"
He writes back. He says, "Often, love, He's like, oh, the places you can go in dreams."
Indeed.
And a few moments later, Edgar, you hear steps coming back up the stairs, and Edgar comes back, and with him is this large man, very rotund, but dressed immaculately. Like his suit is well cut, it fits well. His hair is dark and very coiffed. Looks it's cut precisely. He has waxed mustache and wonderful, spectacular spats on his shoes. I was like, are spats the things that are here that they always flip up in Looney Tunes, or? And David was like, no, they go on your shoes. So
Yeah,
those
spats
of
are
you-
what Scrooge McDuck wears, with no shoes.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I mean, he's a duck. Doesn't need them, but he's got spats. That's what's important. That's
Yeah.
what makes you look fancy.
It
Pinkies
is.
up. But yes, so he comes in and nice blue eyes, and he's very polite, very French. Oui, oui, ha ha. And he says, please, this is my very good friend, Duke. Gosh, how do I say this word? Duke de Asientes. And he is also, surprisingly, this was funny, is he is also an amateur occult enthusiast like I am. I had actually, I'm glad that he came here today because we are talking about an item which I had hoped to kind of, well, Duke, I had intended to tell you about. It's this scroll I found, and he goes on to talk about the scroll. And
Is Duke a title, or is that his name?
it is a title. His name is. You had to ask. And
No. I want to know if I'm familiar with at least the name that was given to me. I may not have met the man before, but I may know of him.
Let me.
Noble social circles. We kind of
Noble social circles.
Oh, this man, a duke.
I was gonna say, you have probably heard of the Asientes line. They are a long line of French aristocrats, but of little. It's almost more a title of what do they call that? Like I don't want to, not an honorific, but something like that. It like he doesn't have anything. It doesn't really refer to like a dukedom or anything like that. This is just his.
Okay.
It's just a no. He is an aristocrat.
But he is well within the high society.
Yeah.
Okay. So when he introduces him and as as Edgar is speaking, I will stand up and smile at him, and then when Edgar's done explaining, I will approach and say, Duke, it is a pleasure to meet you. I am Countess Johanna von Ronaldstadt.
Oh, well, Edgar, you deciding to collect a whole set of nobility? Is that a new thing for you? I thought you were getting away from the society when you left England. And Edgar is like, oh, they were at the cafe across the street. They speak English. I wanted to talk to them. He kind of shows. He's like, he wants to get back to talking about the scroll. You get that distinct impression from him, and as he discusses it, and the Duke doesn't sit down. He stays standing and leans against the counter. There are several of you around this small table in this small kitchen, but he does kind of linger closer to the Countess because, station like station. But as Edgar is talking about the scroll again, and the Duke says, "Why have you not shown me this before? I must see it. Where is it? Bring it out." And he explains, well, it's in a bank vault, and I would have to go get it later, but maybe we can see it together, we can all look at it. And he goes, well, I will not consider even bidding on it unless I've set my eyes on it. I know we're old friends, Edgar, but I don't, I'm not going to just part with all my money for your good word. Apologies. And Edgar says, well, we do have, the Duke and I are part of a club that meets every now and again. It's called the 7:30 Club because we meet at about 7:30 when we meet. It's nothing spectacular. There are three of us, me, him, and our friend Max, but we always love having other people join. It's a discussion group, and the three of us pretty much know what we're going to say about most things, so it's always good to have someone else around to spice up things, liven up the conversation. We meet at a cafe just in town called Le Chat Noir.
Perhaps, do you think that your friend Max would be available this evening? Perhaps the four of us, could join you and have a lively discussion on things.
I am quite confident that he could be. He doesn't do much, but come to the 7:30 club. So he's like, actually, I'll make sure to inform him that we would like to meet tonight when I go out to get the scroll. So,
And then perhaps bring the scroll with us, or with you to the
yeah,
club?
no. I'll bring it to the meeting, and you can appraise it, and you can see it, and all of that. I'll bring the translation, everything. He's like, but I'm going to have to run out and run some errands, of course, and let Max know. But please, Duke. In fact, the Duke has lived here longer than I have. He can probably show you the sights if you wouldn't mind giving our new friends a tour. And the Duke is like, ooh, I don't mind. And it's like, it seems like we have things in common, so common interests. So he and Edgar's like, well, that sounds fantastic. I'll see you all this evening between 7:30 and 8 at Le Chat Noir.
Sounds fantastic.
Yes.
Does he seem fairly confident that he will be safe? Like, because he's taking an artifact out of a bank vault and carrying it through the streets, and I don't know. The reason it's in the bank vault in the first place.
There's a reason it's in the vault. He doesn't seem like he's got a whole lot of care. I mean, he doesn't seem like he's too concerned. He's like, I took it to put it in there. I take it to bring it out.
It doesn't seem like he necessarily knows what he has.
He knows it's old, and it talks about something that sounds kind of cool, but he doesn't really know anything else.
But if the Duke is showing us around the town till the meeting, then at least we can keep an eye on him, so he's not going to try to steal the scroll.
I'm glad I'm not the only paranoid one.
Who, the Duke?
Yeah, if the Duke is showing us around town.
Yeah, no.
You guys are worried about the Duke, not like the misty murder ghost? Who might be a little bit upset about his stuff being stolen?
John agrees. He's over here nodding in fervent agreement. So yeah, what? So you guys agree to go on the tour?
Yeah.
Okay, well, so the what, 4, 5, 6 of you, bidding William a farewell, and he writes on his notepad, pleasure meeting you, come back and visit, have a great day. He doesn't, Edgar explains, he doesn't come to the club, he doesn't really leave the house much.
Oh god, I'm so lonely.
God, Cleo does write to him as they're saying their goodbyes. She does ask him, she writes it. Have you ever ridden the Orient Express?
And he excitedly, he looks up at you with his, his kind of intense eyes, and he shakes his head, and he writes on the paper, no, but someday I hope to. My brother and I would love to travel the countries.
And she will write back, she'll lean in, and she will say, you should take it, and you should sleep on it. You might find more than you know. And she backs out and bids him adieu.
And he waves. He's kind of got a soft smile on his face, and it's like, I made a friend. He's probably like, pen pals? No.
Cleo would be like, yes.
I feel partially responsible for what happened to him, but just not going to mention it.
So you all, Edgar kind of shows you all out, and the Duke and the four of you gather on the street outside the taxidermy shop, and Edgar bids you farewell. He says, I'll see you tonight, and he takes off down the road, and you see him just walk off into the distance.
As we're walking with the Duke, wherever he's taking us to show us sights, I want to ask him questions so that Cleo can gauge his understanding of the occult.
Sure. And he is very affable, very friendly. He shares stories and stuff as you're walking along, and he tells you he's going to take you to the cathedral first. And if you're asking questions about other things about the esoterica and things of that nature, he mentions that it's been kind of a hobby for a number of years. He's always interested in artifacts, but hasn't come across very many. And if Cleo, roll me. You roll me an occult. Everybody else roll me psych rolls if you're kind of gauging this man's demeanor and stuff as well. Now that you are talking to him privately.
Can I roll occult instead of psych?
Sure.
Mine's not terrible. Actually, pretty good now that I'm looking at it. And I got a hard success.
Okay.
A hard success.
Okay.
98, nothing.
Okay. Emily,
You don't
did
like this guy
do you
either.
care? Don't care. So the two of you that rolled occult, he does seem to have, he mentions things that Cleo, you are like, okay, because he kind of casts off like most of what people think are occult, or he doesn't use the word occult really. He's just like most of what people think is spiritualism and things like that with the seances and all that. That is it's a party trick most of the time, and he's like they do all this because they think rich people get bored, right, Countess? And
From time to time, yes.
and they find all sorts of things to entertain themselves, but all of that is kind of silly. I'm talking about the artifacts and the old cultures and he goes on and on about more anthropological sides of like historical other religions or other gods, and he brings up some things. He kind of skirts around anything specific, but the way he the way that he is avoiding certain things gives you both the impression that he does know more than he's letting on, but he's also probably gauging you for your knowledge of these things. He's not just gonna, well, I picked up the Necronomicon down on the corner one time when I was in Paris.
Great.
So he's not gonna, he's this is a social game that he is practiced at.
Well, I myself have spent several years in one university or another, and have come across several books during that time that have led me to believe that there's more than just that. While those charlatans that are keeping bored rich people entertained, there are those beyond that. I think there are things beyond that. Do you have that experience as well?
Absolutely. That's merely what I'm saying is what, like, there are truths and knowledge to be found beyond speaking to Aunt, Louise.
Yes.
At a party with all your friends, or it's more, scary stories to tell in the dark to one another, and get a little thrill in the evening. But that's child's play. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the actual knowledge and the actual things that people have believed in ages past, and the remnants of that, the artifacts of that, are what I'm interested in, and learning more about, the rituals. And it can't all be, a myth. I guess it could be, but I'd rather find that out. Right?
I agree. I've followed a few paths, but none of them have led me anywhere too conclusive until I met Miss Dandridge. We investigated a lighthouse, and
Interesting.
there were unnatural things there. I will say, like I wouldn't want to put a word to them, but
That's fascinating. I will have to find out more about that. I'd love to speak with you more about that. But I was going to give you all a tour of Lausanne. Now, Roxanne is asking, do you all want to go to all the stops on the tour, or do you want to hand wave the tour? Either way, we're getting down to wrapping up, and so I just didn't know how detailed you want the tour to be.
I don't think we need to get too detailed.
if there's something important in the tour that we would have noticed, then yeah, but no,
it
not
is
so much.
random historical facts. I mean,
But-
there's some cool stuff, but as far as like anything super duper interesting. He shows you, he takes you to the cathedral, which is very cool. It's an old Gothic edifice. It's, you gotta climb some steps to get there, but it's really, really cool. It's got a lot of monuments and things like that in it. He tells you about that. In fact, he in there you do see a monument. He kind of focuses on it. He says this is Otho of grandson, and the statue has his hands cut off, and he says he was killed in a duel back in 1398, and it was, you know, he is a perfect tour guide. He takes you to the cathedral. He also takes you to the Cantonal Museum and library, which would only be interesting to you because the library is a beast of a library. It holds over 120,000 volumes. It is very nicely ordered, very well kept. It is definitely someplace you could come back to. This tour is more like, hey, here's several places that you might want to come back and check out. Then he takes you up to a scenic overlook, shows you all the alpine beauty, and then he takes you to, he says, well, you know, I'm actually a bit peckish and I would love to go. I'll go ahead and show you where the Le Chat Noir is, and we can grab lunch. And then I also have some things that I need to be about before we have our meeting later this evening. So, but he takes you there. You guys can have lunch. And he says, yeah, we meet here every so often. It's not anything fancy. It's about 10 to 15 minutes walk from the Cantonal Museum. This cafe is, so to give you an idea, and if you look at the map, you can see where all these places are in that map that I dropped in there for you. But yeah, it's a nice little cafe, very lively atmosphere, a good selection of local wine. The food is great, and he bids you a fond farewell.
Cool.
He was nice for a Frenchman.
It's very
I think he was
chatty.
He said it was French. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. He was
Ah.
definitely French. Yeah, I slipped up and said that one, but you could just see it on him.
Just see it.
Didn't want to assume, but
while you're there having lunch, and the Duke chats with you for a little while about whatever you would like to talk about. If you have any specific questions for him, he will do his best to answer. But I'm going to go ahead and say, Kelsey, give me a spot hidden, and it doesn't have to be too fancy.
I was gonna ask while we were walking. My head was on a swivel the whole time, trying to see if anybody was trailing us.
Okay.
You didn't. You asked for it. Didn't have to be fancy. You're getting fancy. I got an extreme success at.
I don't think you've ever rolled less than an extreme success with your keen eyes ability.
Well, I get to
whatever
roll
it's called.
advantage, but there has been one time that I failed.
Sucks to be you.
Rolled
And-
a 91.
For every success that you guys are rolling tonight, I hope you're marking your boxes so you can get
Yep.
those advances when it's time. While you all were talking to the Duke, now you didn't see anything while you were walking around town, Kelsey, except for exactly what the Duke was taking you to see, and all of it was very beautiful and very cool. At Le Chat Noir, while you're dining with the Duke, you do see that man from this morning walk into the cafe and go and sit and get food as well. And then, do you keep an eye on him, or?
Yeah. I keep an eye, and
course he
who's sitting right next to me, just so I can.
Whoever
wants to be sitting?
Who wants to sit next to Kelsey? No.
I mean, probably me.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Americans.
That could.
Yeah, I
'cause
was
you
going to
went
say
out-
the Americans.
I'm gonna kind of lean over to Cleo, like over there. Isn't that the guy that we were trying to follow this morning?
It absolutely is.
I mean, she never really saw his face because she was like reading the newspaper.
You know, but you're eating your cheese bread and you're like, yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is.
Is he being obvious like he was at the cafe this morning? I mean, did he clock us? Is he clocking us? Like, oh, there they are.
Not at the moment. He's literally ordering his food.
I'm going to be like, Countess, the man that we saw clocking us this morning is here now.
And the Duke is like, oh, what?
We were at the
Are you
trade
unsafe?
cafe. No.
No, Mr. Haskins keeps us quite safe. But
Emily's like,
I'm gonna say I think Emily keeps us quite safe.
yeah, that's fair.
I
There,
keep
she
the
got the
money
chance to
safe.
murder before I did.
yeah.
Money's safe.
I think you understand, Duke, that when people with money travel, especially when it's women, there are elements that see that as easy prey. And those are things that Mr. Haskin keeps an eye out for, and we appreciate his actions in that.
Despicable, but yeah, I can imagine.
And it may be that this gentleman is just wrong place, wrong time.
Very well could be.
Would you like me to stay longer? Or I was going to head home, but
I feel that if anything were to happen, we have it more than well in hand.
as you say. And he gathers his things and he puts a croissant and wraps it in a napkin and he says, I will see you tonight then. And he scarpers off.
He what's off? Skarkers?
Scarpers.
Scarpers off.
He leaves. He's like, see ya.
Okay.
Until
It's
tonight.
a word. It's a word. Oh my god. I've been reading books, Matt. It's a word. Okay.
I'm literate.
Yeah, damn it. I read a book once.
I
No, so
I know how to read.
I got words. Cleo, you kind of, you had seen the guy earlier, and I'll say that you look back and, well, I'll say that you get just the slightest prickle tickle, like a hair stands up on the back of your neck, and you got that feeling like somebody's looking at you, and your head swivels around, and you see that gentleman looking you right, like waiting for you to look at him, and there's a beat, and like you feel like there's a silent exchange happening. He quirks an eyebrow, and then a waiter steps in front of you and asks you if you want more water. And when the waiter walks away, you see just the back of him leaving the shop, the man from before.
It's not a coincidence.
Now the rest of you, Kelsey, unless you're watching actively, I guess you had an extreme success, so you're like, oh, he's moving. Do you?
I'm gonna follow. I'm not even gonna discuss it because he was too obvious that he knows.
I too will
He acknowledges
scarper off.
We shall scarper away.
Thank you, David, for showing that it's a real word. Thank you.
It's British for run away.
It's an
It's
important.
a British word. It's not a real word.
Some
British
might
words are
say
just made up. Oh,
some might say that British words are the real words, and it's the rest of us who don't know what the hell we're doing. But Americans, I am not insulting Europeans. I promise that would be rude. So if you guys go out, I'm gonna say that we're gonna stop there with. Is it just Chloe? God, it's not Chloe. It's Cleo.
Listen, I got it right the whole game tonight.
You did, and I did too. It just, for some reason, Chloe was coming out. So it's Cleo and Kelsey are going after the mysterious Englishman.
Oh, he's English, huh?
Well, yeah, he's scarpered.
We can
You can't
tell
scarper
just
if
by
you're
Because he's
yeah,
scarpered.
tell.
No, earlier this morning
He had a
was
cup
reading,
of tea.
Earlier this morning, he was reading an English paper, and he said he gave his goodbyes in clear English.
he
That's
said
right, that's right.
cheers.
Cheers.
Cheerio.
It's called context clues, Sean. Pick them up, bud.
Revena's defending me. I did it all right last week too. I called.
No, we've all been doing fantastically at calling Cleo until tonight, just
And-
now.
And then
and it
you
was
done
me.
messed it up, Ron.
And I done fucked it up. So that's where we're gonna stop. Are Emily and Johanna joining them,
Yes, we are.
or are you gonna?
All right, I guess we are.
Emily's like, I have to pay.
We just slept all over this town. Gonna finally sit down, have a nice meal in the warmth, and of course they go running off again.
The pointy end of the sharpened tip of Emily's cane has worn down, and she just wants to sand and hone in a new edge on the sheath of her sword cane, and you just can't because the kids keep running off.
Nope.
See,
If I'm gonna,
Arthritis is killing me in this cold.
if I'm gonna be an agent of problem, I'm gonna lean into it hard.
Sure. Well, the four of you go outside, and the man and you, Kelsey and Cleo, you were looking for him and keeping your eye as best you could on him through the shop windows, and you the cafe windows, and you see him go down a bit and turn a corner. And if you follow down there, he's actually just waiting a few feet in this little alleyway, and he says, "I've been looking to talk to you. It's best if we do this quickly." And that is where we'll stop right now. But thank you so much for joining us. Ala, you especially. You were late, but thank you for being here to complain. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. Don't get mad at me. Yeah. Well, it was a wonderful night, y'all. I hope that you enjoyed our first little glimpse at Lausanne and the taxidermy shop and Edgar and William Wellington and the Duke and everyone else, all the exciting people that we met. And if you want a face to go with the man that has invited them into the alleyway, it is Muldoon from Jurassic Park, because that's the vibe I'm going for. Bob Peck is his name.
Oh, that was the clever girl guy, right?
Yeah. Best, one of the best characters. I'm sorry that you got so gussied up for all this abuse, Ala. I do apologize. That is not my intent. It was, but we'll say it wasn't. But thank you all for being here. Again, we have a Facebook, we have a Twitter, we have a YouTube, we have a Discord. Join us, hang out. I don't know if they did a gift chat tonight, but if they did a gift train, that's a thing that we do during shows. We like to share irrelevant, out of context gifts for out of context sayings that we do on the show. And
Revenant just posted Muldoon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean he's a cool guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great character, and that's kind of the. Wait a second. Sorry, I was like, what is going on in chat?
Our leaders getting distracted.
We're gonna end here before I get way more distracted. But thank you all for being here. We will be back. We're back next week, right, y'all?
Yep.
Yeah.
For free.
We should be back next week unless something dire happens. And thank you so much for being here. Roll that beautiful train footage. Woo 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 woo.